If you're bored with your regular blues playing and your regular blues licks, then this video is for you. We're going to check out a different scale that Joe Bonamassa used on his track, The Ballad of John Henry. So I recently stumbled across this video of Eric Gales playing with Joe Bonamassa on one of Joe's tracks called The Ballad of John Henry. It's a killer it's almost like a heavy blues track. I'll link it below so you can check it out. One thing that stuck out to me was both of those guys are using a Phrygian dominant scale over the tonic. So we're going to be playing in the key of E, and we're going to be playing E Phrygian dominant. Now, this can sort of replace our blues scale. It's actually a really, really cool sound. The Phrygian sound is the interval of a flat 9, and so I'm going to show you a few little spots on the guitar, a lick at the end, and I'll also show you some other cool ideas that you can do with the scale. I'm just going to demonstrate the scale because it sounds really cool, and then I'll show you the position that I'm playing and some little ideas in that area. Here we go. So you can hear it's got a really, really interesting sound. It's kind of a Middle Eastern vibe. You get those wide leaps of the harmonic minor scale happening. And it's not something that you hear every day in the blues, and I think this is why it's interesting. It's sort of going to open up your ears to a different sound. So I'm going to just play through some positions for you that I find are really comfortable under the fingers. These are sort of standard-ish box patterns from the root note of E. So let's just go through the intervals first, just so you know what to expect. So we start on the root note. We go to the flat 2 or the flat 9, then the major 3rd. There's that big jump, right? And then we go to the perfect 4th, and then we go to the perfect 5th, and then we've got a sharp 5, flat 7, and then back to the root note. So the sharp 5 could also be the flat 6, depending on how you want to think about it. I guess because there's already a perfect 5th, it would be a flat 6. That's just how that kind of thing works. So this is the scale shape. And then you can take it up the next octave. Sounds pretty cool, right? So the shape that I've shown you there is a 3-note per string pattern. You can start on the flat 7 of E. Hey, what's up guys? I just want to let you know that my 7-day free trial for my Patreon page is still up for grabs. Go and sign up, 7 days free, and then it's only $5 US a month. Super, super cheap. I'm uploading weekly. This video that you're watching now, there's such good gems in here. I'm going to tab out all of the concepts as well as give you a couple of extra licks on my Patreon page. So go and check that out. Keep watching. Thanks guys. Cheers. This is what it looks like. And that's quite comfortable under the fingers. You can get some really cool ideas happening, like some more faster ideas with that 3-note per string thing. Right, it's kind of cool like that. And it's cool to have that that scale pattern under your fingers, because we're then really close to the classic box that we all know and love. I love it so much. The minor pentatonic scale in first position. So we can mix that really, really easily. Another little spot that I like to play this Phrygian dominant scale, I wish it didn't sound so complex, is here. So check out this little cell or this little sequence. I think it sounds really cool. So I'm hitting from the major 3rd of E, the perfect 4th, 5th, the flat 6, the flat 7, and then the root note. And then you can go down to the flat 9 there, and then the root note. And then if you want to keep going down further, flat 9, the root note, flat 7, the flat 6, the 5, and then the perfect fourth, third, the flat 2, and then the root note. Otherwise, if you want to stick to that 3 note per string pattern, you can go... You can go the root note, flat 9, major 3rd, and then ascend on the B string, and then the E string. Just to keep it nice and sort of somewhat symmetrical. The scale's tricky because it's got that wide interval leap of a minor 3rd in it. That's what makes it sound quite melodic without sounding too scalery, if that's a word. You know what I mean? Now with this scale, you can include a couple of different arpeggios. I'm going to show you this sort of, I guess it could be called a triad pair. You might hear the fancy word thrown around, triad pair. It's basically 2 triads next to each other that fit into a key. That's how I think of it. So we can do like an E triad and an F major triad. It sounds really, really cool. Check this out. So let's look at that a little bit more in depth. The E major triad can be played, I mean, if you've seen my videos on the Cage system, this would make sense, but it can be played all over the fretboard. So one particular spot you might want to play it is here, right? And that means the F triad is just 1 fret higher, right? You could play it here, which is like the A shape. F major is 1 fret higher. So you can come up with some really cool ideas that way. I'm just sort of starting to get that under my fingers and make it sound musical. So I encourage you to do the same. Now there's 2 arpeggios that I also want to look at just to give you a little bit more of an extended kind of sound. They have a little bit of a wider interval leap. Now the first one that I like to play is the C major 7 with a sharp 5 arpeggio. Now it sounds complicated, but it's not. I'm going to give you the intervals of the arpeggio from C. So we start on the root note of C, which is C, the major 3rd, the sharp 5. So if you want to imagine a regular triad, but raising the 5th, and there's the major 7th next, and then we do that all again, the octave above. So we go the root note, major 3rd, sharp 5, and then we can hit the major 7, and then the root note. So it's 2 octaves. Now I like to add in the major 7 below, because it's sort of like we're starting on a chord tone of the E, if we're playing in the key of E, right? It's a pretty cool sound, right? So you can play around with that. The other arpeggio is very, very similar. It's just 1 note different. And it's sort of just a different way to think about it. It's an A minor major 7 with a 9. That's how I think of it. And I like this spot because it's around that first position that I absolutely love playing in, that first position pentatonic box, right? So check this out. These are the intervals of that A minor major 7 with a 9. I don't know if that's the technical term for it, but that's how I think about it. So we're starting on the major 7 of A, going to the root note of A, going to the minor 3rd, going to the 5th, then going to the major 7. So that highlights a little bit of like a sus4 and a sharp 5 kind of sound with the E. That kind of thing. And then we go to the major 9 of A, and then we're going to hit the minor 3rd, right? And then we're going to hit the 5th of A, and then the major 7 of A, And then we can bend into the root note of A. And then if we want to finish on something bluesy in the key of E, that kind of thing sounds really good. You know what I mean? If you want to add that major 6 in there to get that major blues sound. So one other idea that I had that I think sounds really, really cool, it's just like an E sus kind of sound. This is the lick. Just giving you an idea of that sus sound as well as mixing in that Phrygian dominant. I think it sounds cool. So we're hitting the sus4 or the perfect fourth of E, hitting the major third of E and bending up into the sus4, and then releasing, right? Then hitting the root note, perfect fifth. Then we're hitting the perfect fourth and doing the same move where we bend up to the perfect fourth from the major third. Right? Root note. Then we're going to go down the Phrygian dominant scale, which is the flat 6, the 5, the perfect fifth, the sus4, major third, and you can slide into it and then hit the root note. Sounds pretty cool, right? So I would encourage you to mess around with that and then try and get more mileage out of it by maybe diverting halfway. You know, that kind of thing. Maybe you incorporate the Phrygian dominant a little bit earlier. Check this out. You know, the whole idea with this kind of stuff is to really explore your own sound and what you feel like sounds good. Because my licks might not sound good to you, but hopefully they're a good sort of platform for you to bounce your own ideas from. Hopefully that got you out of your blues rut. You know, playing just the standard blues stuff is great, but just to give you a different sound, I'm hoping this scale inspires you to try some other ideas. You've got the arpeggios there, you've got those little scale sequences, and you've got the full scale shape that you can practice to. So I've got a backing track available on my Patreon that is based on that track by Joe Bonamassa, the Ballad of John Henry. If you want to subscribe and check it out, you can have a lot of fun playing to that. Otherwise, thanks guys. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.